World Snooker Championship. Here's Dougie Donnelly.
Yes, welcome back to the Crucible. If you were with us before the news, you'll know, of course, that we now have a sixth player through to the second round. Gary Wilkinson, a 10-9 winner over David Rowe, who had been world number 16, now sadly drops right out of the world's top 32. So let's just remind you of the situation in the top half of the draw. Wilkinson now goes through to meet Stephen Hendry in the next round. And down at the bottom of the draw, John Parrott against Rod Lawler is the next match on that same table, in fact, and that'll be getting underway live in a little while for now. We'll be there in time for the break-off. But before we do, let's bring you up to date with Steve Davis and Willie Thorne. We were watching that one earlier on, of course. Steve Davis, not quite the force he was here at the Crucible in the 80s, of course, and 2-1 down to Willie Thorne, who's been coming here for the last 17 years, but has never got beyond the quarter-finals. We're going to join it in frame 4. It's Willie Thorne to play, no score yet. Commentary from John Spencer and Ray Edmonds.
Well, Steve had a look, and I think the black will go to the right corner, so we can knock this red in. Not too difficult to finish on the black.
Yes, he looks a little straight on this black, however, which is going to make the position on the next red a little more difficult. And although the reds are pretty well spread, all in each other's way. What I think Steve is looking at here, he might get on the table shortly. I think he's looking to see if the black will re-spot on its spot, because those two reds could be planted to this right-hand corner pocket. Well, the black won't spot, so was that the reason Steve was looking so closely? Looks as though it is.
No.
Certainly the plant that you mentioned, John, is the 15. Shot that Steve's played for now. Steve Davis, his highest break so far this morning is a 30. Been precious few good break building opportunities for either player. pretty good shot.
23.
Perfect.
Yes, and this is a good effort from Steve up to now. Certainly didn't look to be many on the table when he started this break.
$39. $47. $48.
Typical of Steve Davis, this, having
55.
not looked at any kind of form, immediately getting break building chance, making full use of it. Every chance that he'll get a big break here. And virtually from nothing.
Yes, it was certainly the early part of the break where all the craft came in. But now he's certainly developed the reds a little better, and this has been a super break. Still needs a black and one more red, however, to put the frame safe.
$71.
Knowledgeable audience at the Crucible, they knew that was the red that virtually put this frame beyond the reach of Willie Thorne.
Yes, and now into those three reds. Knew he would finish it on one of the two open reds.
$80.
Just finished the wrong side of the black to be absolutely comfortable. Well, I think the two reds must be lined up for the middle pocket, the way Steve played that shot. Well, the highest break of the tournament so far was a record-breaking 144 on the first day, record breaking in as much as it was the highest ever on the first day, but it's at risk here.
Well, that's made it a little more difficult. Going to have to take the red into the yellow pocket, I feel.
Well, yes, John, but Steve will be aware, I think, that he can beat the highest break and put himself in line for that £17,000 prize. So we'll go back for the black, I'm sure. Queuing just a little awkward over that red.
Well, he'd done all the hard work. Absolutely brilliant break from Steve Davis. It takes him to the mid-session interval, level at 2 frames apiece.
Yes, the 14th century of the championship so far. But then Willie Thorne came back out and went 3-2 in front. Davis equalised. Willie went 4-3 in front. Davis equalised again. And that's where the session ended, 1 frame early, in fact, with the pair level at 4 frames all. Let's just remind you of how things look in that particular half of the draw. There it is down at the bottom. Davis 4, Willie Thorne. They'll come back to play their match to conclusion this evening. But we're now going to concentrate on the match which resumes.
The third night of the Embassy World Snooker Championship, and already our first major surprise. 1991 champion John Parrott is out. Parrott beaten earlier today by fellow Liverpudlian Rod Lawler, who's only the 40th ranked player in the world. And good evening. My goodness, we've had a few stories so far, haven't we? Day one, a record 10 centuries. Stephen Hendry almost beaten and almost on his way back home to Scotland. Yesterday, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Elaine Robidoux having a bit of a war of words about sportsmanship and etiquette in this normally most friendly of sports. And now we've got our first big upset. It all started yesterday when a somewhat subdued John Parrott slipped to a 3-6 deficit against 24-year-old Rod Lawler. When Parrott came back to 6-all today, well, we all thought the tide had turned. But that was Lawler's cue to turn it up a gear.
Oh, good pass.
What a super long red that was to knock in.
Lawler won 4 frames in a row to run out a 10-6 winner over the former world champion. So John Parrott makes an unexpected early return. Home delivery.
The last session, I've got to say, is the best I've ever seen him play.
Really?
He played from 7-6 to 10-6. I was just a spectator.
I mean, I'm really proud of the way I've played, and not just at the finish, but also, you know, yesterday's session as well. Couldn't have asked for more.
But I have no complaints for today's play, none at all. I mean, I played first session as good as I can play, but unfortunately that 7-6 didn't go away. But after that, take my hat off. He played fabulous, fabulous.
So I'd like to think I've been playing well all season, you know, and this is really the icing on the cake, having a good World Championships.
So Lawler's done the hat-trick. He beat Stephen Hendry on his way to the final of the British Open. He knocked Dennis Taylor out of this competition on the way to the Crucible, and now he's done the same to another man who's won the world title. So let's have a look at how it's all sorting itself out here at the Embassy World Championship. Lawler now plays Dave Harold in the second round, where Hendry meets Gary Wilkinson. Last year's runner-up Nigel Bond, he's in action tonight against the Crucible newcomer, that's Anthony Hamilton. I'll give you news of that match later on. Bottom half, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Tony Drago, the two flyers, they're through to meet in round 2, and Peter Ebden was a convincing winner yesterday. This afternoon, Nick Price, he's taken a 5-3 lead over Alan McManus. They play to a finish tomorrow morning. But the one we're going to concentrate on now is the one right down at the bottom, Steve Davis against Willie Thorne. Well, these two old stagers have got a combined age of 80 in this young man's sport. And remarkably, they've never met before at the Crucible. Well, they didn't really break into a trot this morning. They only played 8 frames, and they shared them 4 all. So, frame 9 then, as we join it, Willie Thorne's at the table, pondering as ever, and there's the score. He's 20 points to 1 down. Commentators on this are Clive Everton and Dennis Taylor. There's the referee, Martin Webb.
Well, this will test the cue power of Steve Davis. Deep screw with a lot of side.
One.
And that particular shot, Clive, he wouldn't have been able to have played in the last couple of tournaments because the cloth wasn't responsive enough, but the cloth here is absolutely beautiful on the tables.
Didn't want that contact on the brown.
6.
Yes, there were many moans and groans about the thickness of the cloth in 2 or 3 of the tournaments in the last couple of months, not just from the losers. Nobody seemed to like it. If you have a very slow and thick cloth, it's so much more difficult to move the cue ball around, particularly off almost straight angles.
Six. Steve Davis.
Good safety from Thorne.
There is a couple of choices of shots here. Might even be able to clip this red into the corner pocket. He'd be going back for safety. In fact, he overcut it, hit it much too thin, and chance for Willie. I think he would like to take that one over again.
Very careless. I thought that he might have considered a plant onto that red over the pocket. It looked pretty easy. I think the red was
Willie Thorne.
bound to fall in with almost any contact. But at least, after running out of position, he's played a safety in such a way that he's developed the black, so we might be in for some swifter progress. One minute's thinking time has elapsed. Another excellent opportunity for Willie Thorne. The red over the pocket again, and no problem to get out for the black this time. So he has been very patient, has Willie, and now he's got his opportunity. Not the best.
8.
He was playing to cannon one red to leave himself on choice of reds to the left middle. Good recovery. Now, has he gone too far? The pink back on its spot. Can Willie get to the easy red?
15.
I think he might just be able to make it. I knew that he would be on at least one red if he went into that cluster.
23.
Yes, that little cluster of reds is going to play a big part in who wins this opening frame this evening. And Willie's got to leave himself a nice angle after potting this easy red. Probably be better playing for the black, I think, to leave an angle on that to get to the 3 reds. Now, how's he finished? I think he might be able to manufacture a little screw shot to get him into those reds. Still got a lot to do though, has Willie. He's got to get that
39.
difficult red somehow as well. That's not in the ideal position. This type of shot tests your cue action. If you knock these in, you're cueing spot on.
It's 21 in front. The black will make 28. He still needs the remaining red. Yes, he didn't want the white tight on the cushion. He's having it cleaned. Just needs the red. Now, will he just drop it in or play it with a little bit of pace? So, Davis needs a snooker, and when Thorne pots the black, he'll need 3 snookers. Well, there's one of them, self-inflicted. But this has been a splendid effort from Willie Thorne. This break of 60 has been full of difficulties.
Well, Willie Thorne 60, Steve Davis 4.
Thorne should still win the frame, but now Davis needs only 2 snookers.
Davis didn't get them. Frame to Willie to go ahead again, 5 frames to 4. Into the next. Willie's just 2 points down, 2 reds left, but a gift.
1.
He doesn't want to be straight on the black, but I think he might be, so it's going to require a deep screw with lots of reverse side to come across the table for that red that's up near the green.
The right-hand side spins the cue ball off the cushion to his left. But he hasn't obtained perfect position, not by any means. A big shot was required for that.
Well, he's left with the choice, Clive. He could take the red on and come up for the black, but he's got such an easy shot to screw in behind the green.
Eight. Willie.
Yes, the trouble with the swerve is that initially the swerve will push the cue ball to Davis's right and might cannon the green. There's no problem about getting around the brown.
Well, 5 and a miss. 4 and a miss. Willie Thorne.
While the referee having to call a miss there, and Willie doesn't fancy the red, so he's going to have it put back again. But I think you're absolutely right, Clive. And he can come straight up off the top cushion and try and escape from the snooker that way. But it makes it's a difficult job for our referee to get the ball back into the identical position.
Willie Thorne pointing out the chalk mark Steve Davis's tip made on its follow through. I think it's as near right as you can get it. Cue ball might have been a bit nearer the cushion.
Big round of applause for a sort of bit of a fluke snooker. But Willie can see a bit of the red, but I think he was expecting to have a pot on. Now that was a little bit careless from Willie. Brought the red too far across the table.
Davis was just looking, I think, to see whether the green would go past the blue later in the break.
Five. Seven.
A little bit short. He wanted to be nearer towards the blue, in fact, so as he could have had a pretty straightforward green. It's a little bit thinner contact now, and he's not even going to bother with it by the looks of it.
I think he's got a pretty certain snooker there. Much better than a dicey pot.
But still, it was a slip-up, Clive. He normally would take full advantage and clinch the frame from that sort of opportunity.
Yes, I agree. The positional shot for green was not of the quality he would have wished.
Good escape from Willie. but he's left a half chance. We know that Steve is struggling with his medium to long game, but he certainly could do with a good pot here. Well, he's refused it.
There's no way he would have refused a chance like that 10 years ago.
But I suppose you can't really blame Steve Davis. If he doesn't feel comfortable with the particular pot, why risk it? So he's playing the way he wants to play it.
You could say, Dennis, that he's playing to what he believes to be his limitations. His limitations are greater than they used to be. He has got a great safety game, but you can't win through a safety game alone. There are times when you do have to go for them. That was a poor shot. Thorne didn't mean to cannon the black.
Well, he took that one on and missed it by a long way. The blue ball's going to be the important one here. Willie Thorne, if he could pot the green, brown and blue, Steve Davis would need a snooker. And the blue's not over that pocket there. If Steve Davis gets a chance, he would have to get from blue to pink, which could prove a problem. But there's a lot can happen before we get to that stage. Just shows you the way Steve Davis thinks. He was well aware of that, and he's brought the blue out into an easier potable position. So
well, I don't know whether Davis attempted that. He missed it on the safer side, too thin rather than too thick. But he certainly seems very unsure about his long game. I don't think that Davis can reach the potting angle.
Might just be able to, Clive. I'm right behind this cue action here. And this is a little gem of the shot.
Yes, you're right, I'm wrong, Dennis. And Davis should win the frame at this visit now.
Seven.
And that was the importance when he moved the blue a few shots ago, Clive. It's quite easy now to pot the blue and get up to the pink. Oh dear me, I didn't think that was going in. And he's not on the pink. He can pot it, but it's not straightforward.
This pink to level at 5 all.
Steve Davis.
Well, I bet Willie Thorne can't believe that he's coming back to the table with the chance to open that 2-frame advantage. Steve missed that by a long way.
Six.
Not as good a positional shot for black as he would have liked. He would have preferred a straighter pot. This for 6-4.
Thank you. Quiet, please.
Well, the crowd are getting very excited. And look at the shot that Steve Davis is left with. He should pot it, but we've seen what's been going wrong in this frame from both players. Here we go then.
Just a matter of Davis's cueing, letting him down. It was a straight pot. He didn't hit it straight. Although in his defence, there was a lot of distance involved.
Well, if Willie Thorne misses this black, I'm disappearing.
Instead, the black has disappeared, and Willie Thorne leads by 6 frames to 4.
Well, what a super pot to start this 11th frame. Now, are we going to see Steve Davis quicken up a little bit around the table? I would think he'd be very annoyed after the last frame. He had quite a few chances to level the scores.
16.
I just sense, Clive, that Steve looks a little bit angry with himself, and it might just be what he needs to get him going.
Well, I think he needs to attack the balls a little more. Have a rather more positive attitude than
22.
what he showed in the first 2 frames this evening.
23.
When he seemed to be not so much playing to win as playing not to lose.
Just finished the wrong side of the blue, so we have to leave a longish red on.
$28.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Probably got the best cue action in the game, but there's something just not working this evening.
Overcut it.
One.
Willie Thorne develops other reds as he pots his initial red. But this black from tight on the side cushion is a tester.
Well, I think the fact that Steve gave him so many chances in the previous frame, Clive, towards the end, he's got to start growing in confidence as Willie Thorne. He's not going to get a better chance to beat Steve Davis, certainly the way Steve's performing at present. So if he can take this match by the scruff of the neck, great chance for Willie.
$16.
It's 10 years since he beat Steve Davis.
17.
It's 11 years since he beat him in the semi-finals of the Mercantile Classic, and went on to win his first and only world ranking title.
$24. $25. $32. $33.
Black on its spot, 6 or 7 open reds. Willie Thorne's ideal position, the sort of position in which he's anyone's equal. Davis can see another frame slipping away if Thorne makes the most of this opportunity.
Think he's okay. Can get one of the reds into the middle pocket, but he was getting close to running out of position there.
$54. $55.
No obvious impediment now to going 3 frames clear. Just has to keep his concentration and composure.
$61.
Just needs one of the reds and
66.
he's pretty safe.
67.
His highest break in this match before this effort was 60. He had 2 breaks of 60, but he's 46 ahead. There's only possible 35 on the table.
$74.
Which ought to be enough to put Thorne 7-4 ahead. Perhaps a little disappointed not to have completed the frame with a clean kill, but didn't get a good position on the last red from the black. The red makes sure. So Willie Thorne, having won 2 tight tactical frames of 29 and 40 minutes duration respectively, has run through this one in less than 12 minutes to secure a 3-frame lead.
11. $15.
one of Willie Thorne's best mates, Mark Rowe, the golfer, an interested spectator.
20.
Willie Thorne leads Steve Davis by 7 frames to 4.
Yeah, this could be a late one because Davis has just pulled one back to 5-7. On the other table, Nigel Bond leads the newcomer, Anthony Hamilton, 4 frames to 0. They're both on their interval, and we've got ours. We'll see you later. The frame score, 7 to Davis, 8 to Willie Thorne. Interesting and fascinating late night here in the Crucible, and the commentators Dennis Taylor and Clyde Everton.
It seems to me that Davis's 38 clearance with which he took the last frame on the black has changed the psychological balance of this match. It was a frame in which Willie Thorne didn't play to the score. He needed only to pot a pink to leave Davis needing a snooker with 3 reds left, but played position and lost the frame.
And what a super pot from Steve Davis, the type of shot that he wasn't getting anywhere near earlier in this match, but you can't hit them any better than that one.
He has seemed very uptight for much of this match,
4.
but I think that his clearance in the last frame has now released his emotions, and the adrenaline is running.
Five.
Yes, Clive, and he's been moving much more quickly around the table and thinking a lot quicker than he has been earlier in the match,
11.
and it seems to be paying off at present. Well, he's going to play a very delicate little shot here to bring the black into play. A cannon onto the middle red of those 3 next to the black after potting this. Oh, he took the concentration off the red. But I think he might have left everything pretty safe, but he should have knocked that in.
Just hit the red a shade too thick. Concentrating on position. He led by 39. It was starting to look like a frame-winning contribution. Thorne thinking of taking cue ball away to the vicinity of the blue. There would be 2 reds blocking Davis's access to the red over the right corner if he did that. An anxious look to see whether he's left the cue ball too far away from the side cushion.
Well, can Steve Davis make a better job of it? There's the 2 tables at the Crucible Theatre here, the other match session over.
One of Willie Thorne's best mates, Mark Rowe, the golfer, engrossed in this match.
Yeah, that's one thing about Willie Thorne. He does make his supporters suffer and gives them plenty of thrills, and has done down the years. Yes, he didn't want the kiss on the brown there. Both players are striving to get the white down behind the blue. Now, Willie thinks he can pot the one next to the black. Might just be enough for him to do that. Pretty close together.
One.
Definitely red first. If he'd hit them simultaneously, it would have been a foul. Dropped nicely onto the pink.
7.
Has a reasonable chance to mount a counter-attack here. Could have stretched to reach that with a hand bridge, but for the yellow. Oh dear.
7. Willie Thorne.
Missed by a distance. There seemed to be concrete in his elbow there.
He's been very fortunate, though. Just we'll have another look at it. He's missed the pot, but had he have made contact onto that red with the cue ball, he would have set them all up for Steve Davis. As it is, everything's perfectly safe. So that was a bad shot with a little bit of good fortune. But once again, the area that Steve Davis is looking at is to get the white down behind that blue. And he's got a good chance of doing it this time. He's got nowhere back down the table from this position. Gonna have to leave the white this end and leave the tempter for Steve Davis.
Davis looking at red to middle, which somewhat surprises me. I thought he got a natural angle from the one behind the black spot.
Well, a deserved round of applause. That's probably the best shot that Willie Thorne has played for quite some time. Now he must take advantage of it. Terrific cueing to knock this in.
Eight. Nine.
Well, I'm not sure whether he got a bad contact there, but he hasn't ran through onto the black now. Whether it was just a bad shot, misjudgment, or whether he did. He's not having the cue ball cleaned, so he can still pot the black, but he's making it a little bit awkward for himself.
The match duration approaching 7.5 hours. We've had 15 completed frames. Excellent pot, and very cool too.
16.
To keep the break going.
Willie's still making it hard work for himself. He's going to have to use the rest to pot the green, so he left that one quite a way short. So he really wants to get in the prime position. Oh dear me, Willie.
17. Willie Thorne.
His second very poor rest shot in this frame.
That's just pure pressure.
That's Nigel Jemson, footballer, on the right next to Mark Rowe.
In fact, Nigel Jemson, who's a footballer, hits the golf ball as far as Mark Rowe, if not further. Another good golfer.
But this is Steve Davis, the snooker player, with a chance to clinch this frame and level the match at 8-all.
Well, Steve's left himself a tricky little one along the cushion here. The angle he has on this red, he can't hold for the black. It's quite an acute angle. It would have to be such a delicate shot, so. He's played it well, though. Took his time and struck it with a little bit of side. And that was a much better shot than it looked.
Willie Thorne sweating profusely, partly through tension, partly through humidity.
15.
30 in front. Red to middle, plus pink, plus one more red would be enough.
What a great pot. It wouldn't go in the middle pocket, and it went in clean as a whistle. You've got to admire this man. Eight, 5 down. He's clawing his way back, and it's looking more and more like 8 all. Still needs just one more red.
Made as sure of it as he possibly could. And unquestionably, Davis has raised his game under pressure.
21.
He played very poorly in the first 3 frames this evening. To fall 3 frames behind at 7-4, and he was again 3 behind at 8-5. But in the last couple of frames, he seems to have released his emotions and has played more freely
40.
and certainly more effectively. Steve Davis completes the long journey from 8-5 down to 8 all, level with 3 to play. Davis came here to the Crucible with an indifferent record this season. He's reached only 1 quarter-final in the 9 preceding world ranking events, and some of the frames that he's played earlier in this match, you could see why he's had such a disappointing record in the current campaign. But under extreme pressure, he has dug deep and brought out some of his true quality.
Just looking at him chalking his tip there, Clive, he certainly gave it quite a good chalking after that miscue, which is not what you want to do at the end of a match. He was just playing a deep screw shot, and both players have had miscues. But it's all to play for.
Live at the Crucible for a dramatic conclusion to one of the most engrossing matches you could wish to see. Davis has been frequently turning those initial long pots down. He judged the time to be right for a change of shot selection.
8. Nine.
Well, there's 5 loose reds there, as you can see. And Willie Thorne's on his favourite colour. What a time in Willie Thorne's
60.
career it would be to produce a couple of 60 breaks. It's a tall order, but he's capable of doing it.
17.
He badly needs to reassert himself, having lost the last 3 frames. The middle one of those in disappointing circumstances. He should certainly have won it.
$24. $25. Good. Ready, one.
There was certainly no tension in the arm there, Clive. That was a super strike. Got the desired screw on the shot. And as you can see, a couple of loose reds, and then the problems will start.
39.
Well, Willie had a glance at a couple of reds there near the pink to see if they're a plant into the left middle pocket. He's still got that loose red. He's coming round to have another look at it. And if that was on, that would be a bit of a bonus. Well, as our camera just pulls out, that plant looks as if it might be on. Well, that's what he's played for.
46.
If this goes in, it may develop at least one more potable red. The red underneath the pink may well be potable to the right corner now.
Willie Thorne.
What a time to miss a black off the spot.
Well, at least he didn't get the positional side of the shot as he wanted. Steve Davis can still pot the red, but the black's around safe. He's going to be cannoning into the pink. So this is not by any means a decent chance. But he's developed that pink ball.
Cue ball nearer the side cushion than desired. That restricts his positional possibilities, although he should still pot the red.
Deeply.
Well, the positional side of the shot, Clive, it was going to be a bit difficult, so Steve electing just to open a few of the reds up and play a good safety shot. It was a half chance that went begging there. Got to be a little bit careful now. He can't get to those two reds, but he's going to be playing off the side of the reds, which will develop quite a few of them, but he's got to make sure he doesn't knock one towards the pocket. And there's a deathly hush come over the Crucible. They're all enjoying this. It's 1:45, and it brings back a few memories to me, Clive. Certainly engrossed in this one.
Yes, I've had a few late nights here. 9 minutes to 4 in the morning when Cliff Thorne beat Terry Griffiths in the second round in 1983. That was the latest.
Yeah.
When my colleague Dennis Taylor potted the final black of the 1985 World Final to beat this man, Steve Davis, there were 18.5 million viewers watching. The biggest after midnight audience BBC has ever had.
Are you after a drink, Clive?
I'm after a new contract. Meanwhile, Willie Thorne still defending a 40-point lead in the frame that he needs to win to go 1 up with 2 to play. Still a fair bit of midnight oil to be burned in this match, I fancy.
Missed that by a long way. Has he been fortunate and covered everything? Well, there's at least one red that Willie can have a go at. Don't think Steve will be risking anything. He's got a chance to screw in behind the brown and send that red back up the table.
One thing Thorne doesn't want to do here is bring the black into play with a safety to make it easier for Davis to compile a break if he should get in. Well, Willie, that was a bit of a risky one to take on. He felt he hadn't got an easy safety shot, but he could have left the white up this other end of the table. But as you mentioned, Clive, that black might be the saving grace because the pink's awkward as well at present. But at least Steve Davis has the opportunity to get right back into this frame.
5.
I'm not sure if one of the reds just to the left of the pink will pot. If it will, that will be a big help and could bring the pink into play in a couple of shots. In fact, it might bring the pink into play after this shot. You can pot a red and just a little cannon there, and it's turning into a very good chance.
Davis continuing to eat into the 40-point lead Thorne held when Davis came to the table.
And that's a little bonus. The pink spot's covered and Willie can just look on anxiously. Pink's on the black spot. Interesting to see how Steve Davis goes about tackling that
25.
difficult red that's next to the black in a few shots time.
26.
And maybe Willie Thorne is reflecting.
32.
None of this need have happened if he hadn't missed a perfectly straightforward black from its spot when he was first in with 47.
No problem with the pot. Steve's just working out how he's going to tackle that last difficult red. Oh, he's played that well. Got the perfect angle to move the red out. Well, I think he wanted to move the red, but he's moved the black, and it's still a chance, but these have been missed.
Willie Thorne will be expecting Davis to go on to win the frame now.
I'm not quite so sure, Clive, because it's still a little bit awkward. He's got quite a bit of work to do with the cue ball here. That's a great shot.
Just brown and blue needed.
He's overrun it a little bit. This is a great performance, Clive, from Steve Davis, calling on all his experience to claw his way back into this match, and he's going to go into the lead for the first time.
Willie Thorne was first in with 47, but it's Steve Davis who clears to the pink with 64 to lead by 9 frames to 8. 1 up, 2 to play.
This little pause in the proceedings there. Would you believe it's the first time these two have ever met here in the Embassy World Championship? What a battle. Let me show you 2 very crucial shots. Frame 13 was a re-spotted black. Willie'd had the first try at it and tried to double it. He'd missed it. Davis couldn't pot it, and was back to Willie Thorne again for a second go. A re-spot black, frame 13. 7-5 in frames. Another cheeky double, and in it goes. And Willie Thorne goes ahead 8 frames to 5. Davis won 14. He should have lost 15, and this one was down to the black. In it went, and watch Davis. A long time since we've seen a motion like that from him. 7-8, that made it, and as you've seen, it's now gone 9-8 in Steve Davis's favour. 2 to play. Steve Davis needs 1. Willie Thorne needs them both in this first ever meeting between these 2 great stars, who between them have been here with the Crucible 37 times. What's Willie Thorne thinking there? 8-5 up with a tremendous re-spot black. 6-8, 7-8, 8-8, and now 8-9 down. Our live coverage continues.
I think one of the things that Willie Thorne may be thinking is, have I blown it again? He does have a history of losing matches from winning positions. 3 times in world ranking events this season. He's been 4-1 up and lost 5-4. He was in a great position in this match, leading by 8 frames to 5. And he had a golden chance to go 3 up with 4 to play. But now you've got to make Davis favourite.
The 18th frame, Steve Davis to win.
Well, it's Steve Davis's turn to break, and the number of times he's made contact with the blue off the break-off is quite incredible this evening. Clive, he managed to miss it that time, and a cheer from the crowd there. but it's not a good break-off, though.
Pretty good opening red, considering what happened in the last frame when Thorne was in first with 47, but had to sit in his chair, watch Davis clear to the pink with 64.
Eight. Nine.
Well, that one wobbled, but it was a little bit awkward striking. And he's in the identical position that he was in the previous frame when he made a 47.
$16. 17. $24. $25.
He's got to get an angle after potting this.
32.
On the black, he's got to really go into those reds.
33.
He's still got the loose red, but
no joy with Thorne's pack opener.
Willie.
Good start then by Thorne to this frame, as indeed he made a good start in the last one. And I can tell you that we'll be staying with this match to its conclusion, and the scheduled current affairs programme, The Midnight Hour, will follow somewhat after the midnight hour at its conclusion.
you can get through to a red into the left corner, but it's a very risky one, and he is an attacking player, as Willie Thorne. Yes, that's a good shot. He was a little bit unfortunate with the cannon, but knocking the red in will do his confidence a power of good. I think there's a lot of people here, Clive, would like to see this one go to the last frame. It certainly deserves it. It's been a great match.
Willie Thorne.
A match that seemed to be developing into a story of a successful recovery by Steve Davis from 8-5 down to 9-8 up, and then victory, but perhaps the match has got another turn in it. Just confirmation there that we are staying with this match to its conclusion.
And Willie Thorne's got the identical pot on the other side of the table here. Well, he missed that one by a long way, but he may have been very fortunate this time. That's near the pocket, but it's quite a thin snick in. Here's the shot that Willie played. Now, he missed the pot by a long way. He was very fortunate in the red knocking the pink out of the way to leave a path through for the white.
Well, a stroke of luck, either good or bad, can be so important at this sort of stage of a match. It looked odds on that Thorne's wild miss, that red, was going to leave Davis a chance to get back into this frame, but it didn't. The red finished just about the only safe place it could have done.
Well, Willie's left a tempter here for Steve Davis, and he's going to have a go at it. He played it in such a way as he was taking the cue ball back to the safety zone there. And it's left things very awkward for Willie Thorne here.
Useful bonus. Certainly a whole lot better than cannoning that red over a pocket.
Well, a little bit of pressure on the yellow. He can pot the yellow and get on that red near the brown.
Three.
.44 in front. He did look at a long red, but it's pretty risky.
Well, he may not Yeah, he's got to take this pot on, surely.
Three. Willie Thorne.
I'm surprised, Clive, that Willie didn't get down and just pot the red without studying the other reds. It must have put a little bit of doubt in his mind. He's annoyed with himself there.
Yes, that's obviously what happened, but you do so want to make the right choice when such an important match reaches such a stage as this. You don't want to overlook a better alternative.
One.
But now Thorne has got to stay in his chair while Davis attempts to develop a counter-attack.
Three. One.
That was a delightful little positional shot from Steve Davis there. And he's got, as you said, Clive, a good opportunity here. There's 4 reds and 4 pinks available for him.
Eleven.
Eight hours play in this match, spread over 2 sessions.
17.
And Steve Davis has just let it slip a little bit. That was a bad positional shot. The white's close to the cushion, so makes that pot more difficult.
Eighteen. Four. $25.
And he's got a chance here, Clive, I think, to pot this red and leave an angle on the pink to maybe develop that safe red on the cushion.
32.
Doesn't have to do that. He could screw down behind the one that's near the blue and leave it on for the middle, but knowing Steve Davis, if he had the angle, he would move that red, but I don't think it's quite on.
$32. Steve Davis.
What a shot to miss. Maybe preoccupied with position, although he didn't get position. Certainly a very easy ball to miss at this stage. So 12 points of Willie Thorne's lead remain.
It's going to be another nail-biter, is this frame, Clive.
Yes, we've had some great frame finishes in this match. Tie-break black and several on the pink or black.
Seven.
Willie Thorne has studied scoreboard. 19 in front.
Is he taking the double on?
Seven. Willie Thorne.
I think he might have left it. Willie calculated if he risks the double, he might just clinch him the frame, but as it's turned out, he's left Steve Davis a chance.
Yes, the red followed by pink, yellow, green would have been enough. Davis needs clearance to win.
Four.
And it's not going to be an easy one.
Six.
Yeah, I think he'll want to just drop in behind the brown.
Nine.
These are going to be very anxious moments for that man on your screen. Wow. Blue, pink and black needed, and look where the black is.
Thorne was 47-0 up in the last frame and lost it. 41-0 up in this frame and could well lose it.
What a pressure, black coming up. What does he do? Does he roll it in, or does he play a little stun shot?
I enjoyed Steve Davis's appearance a few weeks ago on They Think It's All Over, and I thought it was all over for him tonight when he was 8-5 down. But he's come through like a true champion to beat Willie Thorne by 10 frames to 8.
Wow, what a late night epic here.